What it do, Friar Faithful? Let's go. The Padres aren't just building a rotation, they're building a mindset. From Ruben Niebla's new role to Steven Souza Jr.'s hitting philosophy to pitchers AJ Preller keeps quietly stacking, this feels like a very, very intentional shift, Friar Faithful. Let's go. What up, Friar Faithful? Welcome back to Friar Talk, or the Filthy Friars podcast, episode 2. If you care about Padres baseball, roster construction, coaching philosophy, and where this organization is headed, you're in the right place, baby. Welcome to Friar Talk. Today, we're going to be covering why AJ Preller is clearly not done adding pitching, what Ruben Niebla's associate manager title really means, and how Steven Souza Jr.'s mindset first approach ties into all of this, and what the 2026 Padres rotation can realistically look like. Let's get going without further ado. Topics to hit today. AJ Preller right now is still cooking, man. I know he's in the background. I know he's still cooking. There is some pitchers available, big names like Ranger Suarez. You know, that's going to cost a lot of money after we just threw out $75 million. Well, it's only $20 million this year. We did throw out, but I think actually it's only $5 million against the budget, because it was they got clever with it. It was a $12 million signing bonus, and then $5 million this year, something like that. So I just don't know how much money we have to go out and get somebody like Ranger Suarez, like Framber Valdez from the Astros. Those are big name guys. We could use those guys. I really would like us to have a lefty, but we don't know how Preller is. You know how he's cooking. We could bring in someone like Jose Urquidy. He's an ex Houston Astro. He pitched really good on the Astros, but then he got hurt. He had one good season, but then he got hurt, and then he never really kind of bounced back. Then he kind of had a bad year. Then he got traded, or he got picked up by the Detroit Tigers last year, and he made the postseason roster, and they brought him in on the bullpen end. From the bullpen, and he helped out a lot. He had a pretty good low ERA last year in under 3. And so Jose Urquidy is someone who you could sign for very cheap, maybe $5 million, something like that. That wouldn't be a bad signing. I think it's not a bad idea to bring that guy in. Other pitchers that he potentially could add, or that he's added right now, is Kyle Hart. Don't forget Kyle Hart on a one year deal. I think that is completely intentional. Obviously, AJ Preller values Kyle Hart very much, to bring him in on a 1 year deal, keep him around. He saw something in him. Keep in mind, Kyle Hart won the Cy Young equivalent in the KBO, though. So Kyle Hart has some really nasty stuff. I know that his little slider, his little sweeper, it plays very well. AJ Preller told me personally that he loves that sweeper. So I'm not surprised that he's sticking around. And Kyle Hart, with one more year under his belt here, he could surprise everybody and crack the rotation. You never know. We do need a lefty, so be on the lookout for Kyle Hart. Triston McKenzie, though, is another really interesting option. The San Diego Padres brought in Triston McKenzie, who just in 2020, he was pitching under Ruben Niebla, and Ruben Niebla had this guy looking like a stud, man. He looked like a front runner, an ace, and he was very young. He was about 23 at that time. So he's still very young. 5 years later, 2025, he's 28 years old. The San Diego Padres brought him in on a little minor league deal. We'll see what Triston McKenzie could bring to the table, that he's reunited with Ruben Niebla. You guessed it, Viva Mexico. So he's reunited with Ruben Niebla, and that's an interesting signing. He's going to compete. And then we got Randy Vasquez in the mix, Randy Vasquez has only progressed and gotten better every season that he's been here since he came in with Michael King via that trade for Juan Soto through the Yankees. So I love AJ Preller. Is one thing that he loves is competition. He'll bring anybody in to compete, so he'll let everybody compete. I love the competition angle that AJ Preller always takes, the approach that he takes in spring training, how he brings people in to compete. He lights a fire under your ass. No job is secure. If someone plays better than you, they're gonna get a look. That's just the way AJ Preller moves, and he won't. There's no stone unturned. that he won't have. What's happened right now, and I just think that it tells us that Preller's not playing around. He is playing like he hasn't gotten that extension. He's playing like he may not have a secure future. So I like that. The same way that he's lighting a fire under these people's asses. In a way, I feel like John Seidler may have somehow lit a fire under his ass. Him and Eric Grupner, since Eric Grupner got the extension. That's the competition. Maybe he's competing with Grupner, trying to show him that he has value too. So I think there's still a few pieces missing, still a first baseman missing, a backup catcher maybe, or I don't know, a couple infielders. I don't know. We just need a solid bat. I don't know what position he'll play. Definitely not the outfield because we got that on lock unless we make a trade. Ramon Laureano was swirling around in trades, but I just don't think this is finished. This is a competition build right now that Preller is working on right now. The Padres have rounded out and finished up their coaching staff. Newcomers previously reported include bench coach Randy Knorr, hitting coach Steven Souza Jr., and third base coach Bob Henley, all of who have ties to Stammen's days with the Washington Nationals. Other newcomers on the staff include infielder instructor Ryan Goins, catching coach Kevin Plawecki, hitting instructor Raul Padron, and field coordinator, outfielder, and base running instructor Vinny Lopez. Padron was AAA El Paso's hitting coach last year, while both Plawecki and Lopez coached in Padres player development last year. So also returning to the staff is bullpen coach Ben Fritz. Thank God, love my boy Ben Fritz. First base coach Dave Macias, love David Macias. Hitting coaches Mike McCoy and Pat O'Sullivan. Infield coach Nick Punto. Game planning and pitching strategist Peter Somerville. Bullpen coach, coaching assistant Herberto Andrade, shout out my boy, love him, and pitching coach assistant Chris Apiccia. Alan Craig and AJ Ellis are also returning as special assistants to the Major League staff and baseball operations, the same job that Stammen held before he was hired as the manager this offseason. So Niebla was a finalist for the managerial job and was given the associate manager title shortly after Stammen's hiring. Stammen spoke of an eagerness to lean on Niebla heavily the day he was introduced as the Padres' next manager. Former bench coach Brian Esposito is not returning to the big league coaching staff, but was expected to remain in the organization. Coaching assistant Morgan Burkhart is also not returning. Shout out to Kevin Acee, that was there from his article about rounding out Craig Stammen's coaching staff. So shout out to Acee, thank you for that. That was very interesting right there. That last part is that a new title under Ruben Niebla. He is not just a pitching coach anymore. He is a associate manager as well. That to me spells the number two. Says the number two. That's a lot more responsibility. That graduates him from staff to senior staff. Now he's involved in a lot of other decisions. So I find this very interesting. I don't know if you guys remember back on firefriartalk.com, one of my articles on my website, it talked about mental health. It was at the time that Luis Arias revealed that he was getting a lot of messages that were insulting him, that were coming after him, that were threatening him, and he said it's part of the game, and he kind of brushed it off, but he said, he sees them, and that's when I spoke to Ruben Niebla about that. It was the day, coincidentally, that Michael King actually made his return back from the IL, and that game we spoke a little bit, and I got to interview him. I had the honor of interviewing Ruben Niebla, and he was telling me about the mental health and how he, he's always going to defend his guys, and how he hates when the media twist words and when the fans go after the players on social media, because he sees the toll it takes on them firsthand. And he says, yeah, of course it affects them, that these are normal guys, and he tries the hardest he can to protect his guys, protect their mindset. So I think it's very interesting that Ruben Niebla was given a title, associate manager, and the way he thinks when it comes to mental health, the way he protects his guys. This title, to me, it isn't about hierarchy, it's about influence. And I think Ruben Niebla should get a lot of credit here, and he should get a lot of flowers to what I see him being groomed as a future manager. This ties to Steven Souza, also first-year coach, and what I think is fascinating here is that all of them have a connection to through Craig Stammen, and all you hear is Craig Stammen is such a good guy, such a good person. He has his mind right. He speaks up even in moments, under Ron Fowler. There was a story when he was speaking up in front of Ron Fowler. He kind of spoke back, and that's when AJ Preller says he caught attention of Craig Stammen and was kept his eye on Stammen and was interested that this guy would have the nerve to speak up to the owner of the Padres and disagree with him when everybody around him usually agreed with him. But I think that it's interesting that all of them are connected now running through Craig Stammen and the importance of mental health for Ruben Niebla. Enter Steven Souza Jr., who is the first-year MLB hitting coach. He has his clinic philosophy. His hitting clinic philosophy is all about mindset. It's about getting your mind right. It's about character. In fact, I have it right here, the website. It's on basebypros.com. If you go to basebyprosacademy.com, you will see the diamond principles for Steven Souza's website and his whole batting clinic that he is the owner of. And this is what he has been doing. And last year he was a consultant for hitting and player development for the Tampa Bay Rays. So this guy is very, very knowledgeable about baseball. There's something that they value in this guy. He was a great hitter in his 8 years in the show. But if you go to this website, basebyprosacademy.com, you'll see their number one thing is mindset. The diamond principles of Steven Souza's hitting clinic, which is the now going to be the hitting coach of the San Diego Padres. It is the number one mindset. Number two is skills. Number three is the strength. And number four is character. We stand alone in our focus to develop the whole individual beyond the athlete. Our customized pathways lead every one of our student athletes to achieve our biggest dreams. Now, that right there, I'm loving the way everything that he says right here, the mindset. More often than not, we fail as a result of what is going on in our heads, not in our hands. At Base by Pros, developing a mentally tough student athlete is a fundamental goal of our training programs. Our approach focuses on personal self-inspection, diligent preparation, and goal setting, and tools to promote right now recovery from failure. I love that. That's on the mindset. Then we got the skills. What they use here, they use unique training drills, state-of-the-art, real-time feedback, and repetition to ensure a progression of skills improvement in your student athlete. All of our training programs are taught by successful professional athletes with experience and an eye for detail. Now, granted, I know they're not athletes or student athletes. Obviously, they're pros, but just pay attention to the mindset, to what we're bringing here. It's very, very different from what Victor Rodriguez's mindset was here. And the strength at Base by Pros, we believe in physical conditioning well beyond the squat rack. While successful performance in sports is related to strength, a more balanced approach, which includes development in agility, flexibility, diet, and even proper sleep, will yield far more positive and dramatic results for most student athletes. Wow, even more sleep. That's diving deeper. The diet, the flexibility, kind of a lot of the stuff that Joe Musgrove does in the off season with his Camp 44, and it might be something like that. But I like the proper sleep. That's interesting. I recently saw something that Shohei Ohtani sleeps 10 hours a day minimum. That's insane. But it must do something to the body, to the recovery, because the guy is unbelievable. He's the greatest athlete, in my opinion, of our generation, or the best player we'll ever see. But that's very interesting. And now character, the last subheading, the last core principle is, does your child have what it takes to make it? We can't look at them and say for sure, because so much of their athletic success will come from what is inside their heads and their heart. At Base by Pros, our trainers are successful professionals, but they are also mentors with strong moral character and a relentless desire to help your student athlete be the best version of themselves possible. Our programs will help them develop and maintain integrity, sacrifice, and focus. Student athletes who embrace the program will develop as conscientious citizens of solid character. Wow. I love that right there. See, and this is going to be very different. Our mission to develop highly respected athletes both on and off the field through an impassioned focus on mindset, skill, strength, and character. Our slogan, dream big, serve bigger. Our focus at Baseball Pros, we challenge and guide athletes to build a strong mental and physical foundation to help them achieve their fullest potential, understand the value of hard work that lives beyond sports, develop a detailed action plan to accomplish their ultimate goals, be responsible for their own success, cultivate personal relationships with inspiring people, and appreciate that ultimate happiness is earned through serving others, which is their slogan, dream big, serve bigger. Give back. I absolutely love this. I think those guys, we put guys, Ruben Niebla, of excellent character. Steven Souza Jr., from what I'm seeing, he's dedicated his life to doing this, helping the youth and helping develop people as people first, mindset first. Steven Souza in the room. This is just absolutely incredible. I'm really excited about what we have here. This organization is clearly investing in how players think, not just how they throw or how they swing. Very, very impressed by what's going on over here. And see, his approach is going to be. It was about he teaches hitters to trust their skill set at the plate. He learned this approach as a special advisor to hitting development with the Tampa Bay Rays last season, and his philosophy encourages hitters to mentally visualize the situation before stepping into the batter's box. This process includes studying the defensive alignment and identifying who is on base. Souza Jr. wants to eliminate overthinking and chasing bad pitches outside the strike zone. It is a strategy that counters former Padres hitting coach Victor Rodriguez's approach at the plate, a high contact philosophy designed to reduce the lineup's strikeout percentage, but it comes at the cost of sacrificing hitters' power potential during at-bats. Souza Jr.'s success hinges on his ability to translate the analytic data into accessible, impactful talking points that resonate with the players. Regardless of which approach you support, the Friars need to put together more productive at-bats in 2026. Really, really excited about that. How about that? How about that, guys? And the connection with the two new hires in Stammen is their time together with the Washington Nationals. Steven Souza Jr. was a teammate in 2014, and Nor was the bullpen and bench coach during Stammen's time with the Nats from 2009 to 2015. So successful managers rarely follow the same script each night. If they do not acknowledge the failures from the day before, then the results will never change. I think the Padres hired Nor as the bench coach because he is known for his ability to make suggestions that impact the games. And Stammen is hoping that Nor can provide a lending voice with in-game decisions. It could be reshuffling the lineup or making a pitching change, but Stammen must take ownership of every move made during a contest. He must learn how to move the chess pieces that mirror his expectations of what should take place in that moment. Nor's extensive experience spans nearly every baseball front office role, including development coach, minor league manager, player development executive, and major league coach. His personality has helped to develop a rapport with young players. He cherishes building a relationship that goes beyond the struggles of playing baseball. I'm really excited. See, relationship first. I like that as well. Shout out to Thomas Conroy. That's an article from I believe it's the gas lamp. The gas lamp ball. Shout out to Tom. Thank you for that. I thought that was a great article. So, see, I think this is just fascinating where we're headed with how all these connections together. I'm really excited about that. And another thing that I think is interesting is the McKenzie connection with Ruben Niebla. Ruben Niebla used to coach him in 2020. They go back. McKenzie has a lot of upside. He was dealt with a lot of injuries, but I think Ruben Niebla is a perfect coach for him. He had him right in 2020 when he worked with him, so he's going to see a familiar face. McKenzie's going to see a familiar face. He's going to feel comfortable immediately coming here and seeing Ruben Niebla. He's going to love San Diego, I'll tell you that much, a lot more than Cleveland. And I think development versus results here, man. The key thing here is if anyone can unlock Triston McKenzie again, Like, why not Ruben Niebla? Definitely it can. Where it started, where it's gonna end, baby. Ruben Niebla could do it. He's the el profesor. He's the doctor. He's everything, man. I have so much respect for Ruben Niebla, and I love that they're grooming him clearly with the associate manager. They're grooming Ruben Niebla. They're giving him a tryout. They're putting him on the stage. See what you can do. He will no longer just be in the back. He's going to be, like I said, senior staff. Now he's going to be involved in the game planning. He will be part of making the decisions of pulling the pitchers and not pulling the pitchers, not just training the pitchers. So they are giving him a lot of trust, and he is basically. I would be surprised to see what happens if Craig Stammen gets kicked out. I don't see Craig Stammen ever getting kicked out, but you never know. I would love to see it, and we'll see who they put in. Since it's an associate manager, he could potentially take over and not Ryan Knorr. That's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Keep an eye on that. So what can the 2026 rotation look like? Honestly, ooh. Well, as of right now, thank God with the signing of Michael King, he will be getting paid $25 million a year, just like his boy Joe Musgrove. He said he wanted the Musgrove deal. Well, he's got it, 25 a year. So now that we got King back, front of the line, I would send out Pavetta first, Michael King, then Joe Musgrove. That's a good 1-2-3 punch any day. I'll send that out any day. So that is great right there. But then who we have on the back end? Randy Vasquez is going to get a shot. Obviously, he's been here the last few years. He's only progressed. He's only gotten better. So shout out to Randy Vasquez. I believe he can compete, as we were talking earlier. And who gets that last spot? I don't know. Like, the lefties still needed. Kyle Hart, surprised, like I said. They brought him in here because they value him. So we'll see how that goes. The rotation right now isn't about stars. It's about depth. It's about matchup and survival at this point. We need to bring in some competition like Preller values and just keep bringing in more arms. He signed Dyson, some guy named Dice. I forget. There's a Jancito. There's a few people on the transaction list that they brought in, and just compete. We need to bring arms, and you never know who can pop out. So we'll see how that goes. Quick hits. We also brought Jose Miranda. I think his highlight was 2024 when he hit 12 consecutive hits in a row. I don't know if you guys remember that. He was on the Minnesota Twins. He was once a top prospect there, but in the last couple of years he's dealt injuries, hasn't really got to play much, and he hasn't really been his normal self. Hasn't been how he was so long ago when he had a pretty good year back in was like 2021 or 22 or something. He batted like 160 in the minors this last season, so we'll see. It's not a sexy move. I'm not super excited about it, but could he be a fit? I don't know. We'll see what he can do. But like I said, he batted 160. Nothing to be too excited about, but it's competition. Somebody else that I'm very excited about, who we signed not too much after we had announced the news of re-signing Michael King, Song Sung Mun, a KBO star. How about that? So the Padres came in agreement with the infielder. So it's going to be for 3 years. That guarantees Song around $13 million. Song's only 29. He broke out in a big way over the last 2 seasons playing for the KBO's Kiwoom Heroes. After typically being a slightly below average hitter by that league standards in the early years of his career, Song exploded with a .340 slash line across 602 plate appearances during the 2024 season. He flashed 2020 potential at the plate and walked at a career-high 10.6 clip. He followed that season up this last year, batting .315 with 26 home runs, 25 steals, and 37 doubles. Woo! Those, man, back-to-back campaigns in the KBO, they clearly were enough to convince the San Diego Padres, but I heard Preller's had his eye on this guy for the last couple of years, but who hasn't he had his eye on? Think of him as someone like Ha-Sung Kim, but a lefty with a lot more pop than Ha-Sung Kim. I think more bat speed from what I've seen. He looks like he's ready for the MLB. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. He's going to be batting around 300 all year, and I think this is such a great pickup. Where he fits in, as of right now, we can either, as of right now, it's kind of interesting where we're going to put him. Is he going to be a utility guy? Is he going to be a player who comes off the bench like Jose Iglesias? Do you move Cronenworth to first base and then you have him at second base? And that's the way it rolls with Bogarts at short, with Manny at third. They're both getting up there in age. I think they're 32 or 33, so maybe you give them more DH time and And Song can play second base, third base, first base. He doesn't play first base too much, but I'm sure he can play it. So that's going to be interesting where we put him, but a very low price, a very good price, and we got him on the bench now. So what does it mean? Will they sign Luis Arias? Who knows? I'm not sure. I hope so. I talked to Luis Arias recently. He said he couldn't really speak too much about the contracts and everything, but he told me as of right now, there's a few teams talking to him, but he hasn't signed anything. He says that's what he can tell me, and that's good enough for me as of right now. Luis Arias remains unsigned. Hopefully, he's in the backs working with AJ Preller as well, because I know AJ Preller values Luis Arias. I know he values him so much, and we need that guy on the team. So. On the Filthy Friars podcast today, the final takeaways of today, all together, man, from Steven Souza Jr. to Niebla to the pitchers being brought in. This feels like a philosophical shift. This isn't just roster building. This is identity building. That is what's going on right now. I'm really, really, really hyped about what's going on. This shift in philosophy gets me really hyped up. We're getting mindset right. We have the athletes already to do it. We have the best athletes in the world. We have Bogarts. We have Tatis Jr. We have Manny Machado, man. We have these studs, Jackson Merrill. We get their mind right. A new philosophy that we haven't seen in a while. We get their mind right. They become leaders. Everyone else follows suit. We need to get our leaders, our captain, to have their mind right. And I love this little triangle that we have of all these people coming in now, of Craig Stammen, all starting running through Craig Stammen. Clearly, good character gets brought through him. You know, he brings it. He brings this tunnel, this tunnel, this path of good leadership, good energy, positivity, of faith. And I love that he has them all together in the same room now. No one in there being negative. You know, from what we heard, Schilt was a hothead. Schilt was losing it. Bob Melvin didn't want to listen. Now we got Craig Stammen, who's not checked ego at the door. He's not worried about anything. He's just gonna utilize what he has around him. And Ryan Knorr, his expertise in the league, coaching at every facet of the game and every level. Ruben Niebla, his expertise, he's been in the game for over 20 years. The people around him, Steven Souza, a teammate himself, his ex-teammates, he has seen every part of it. He just came from being an assistant up in the front office and player development. He's been around. They've been grooming him as well. I think this is very, very interesting what's going on. And if you give it a listen, a follow, a rate, I'll post this up pretty soon. It'll be on YouTube. I'm working on putting it on all platforms, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. So, you know, appreciate y'all very much. Thank you for tuning in to Friar Talk. You know, this is where we talk about Padres uncensored. You'll hear my true opinion on everything. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Filthy Friars episode number 2, baby. Now that's fire. And as always, let's fucking go San Diego, baby. Talk to you soon, baby. Bye. Scott. Turn up.